Regular meeting for the Milliken Board of Trustees for November 12th, 2025 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the town clerk please call roll?
Sorry, just a moment. Trustee Beckman?
Here.
Trustee Nix?
Here.
Trustee Roseberry?
Here.
Trustee Wakeman?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
Here.
Mayor Austin?
Here.
And I'd like to note that Trustee Orcutt is out this evening.
Do I have any changes or adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll take a...
I move to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Was that Trustee Beckman?
Take a motion. Yes. Second.
Yes, that's fine. Town clerk, please call roll.
Trustee Nix?
Yes.
Trustee Roseberry?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Do we have any citizens' comments this evening? Please raise your hand if you want to get up and speak. Okay.
A little confusion. I'm here to speak about the Journey Homes program. Do I speak now or do we wait until after they present?
That is,
Wait, because it's a public hearing.
yeah.
It's an agenda item.
So since it's an agenda item, it will be fine to wait. Anyone else have comments? Then I will skip the script on that. Comments, move right to minutes of the previous meeting. Does anybody have any changes or adjustments to the meeting minutes of October 22nd, 2025? Hearing done, I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to approve the minutes from October 22nd, 2025.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Roseberry?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Nix?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next up, we have the town administrator's report. Administrator Powell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Trustees. Just to keep you updated on some of our projects. So the Center Drive improvements are complete. The contractor is addressing the punch list items that were provided to them by John Rabus. Also, the stormwater improvement on the Public Works facility, that's complete as well. I don't think are they still working on any punch list items there, John? Okay, thank you. The Parks Department and Streets Department have been installing the garland on the streetlight poles and putting up the Christmas holiday decorations while we have mild weather, so I'm sure you've seen it going up around town. The grant that was awarded to Mickle from Lazy Days RV was in the amount of $6,500 instead of the $5,000 that was previously mentioned, so yeah. Very nice of them. IT specialist Rick Mundy has been speaking to both TDS and Comcast regarding fiber connectivity to our facilities and the cost of the service. We've concluded that the town's best option is to remain with TDS. The fiber infrastructure for the police department is already in place. The town hall is currently connected to this line, but for security reasons, there needs to be a dedicated fiber connection to each facility. So they will be installing a dedicated line to the town hall. TDS should be able to install that line to the town hall within a few months. In the meantime, they should be able to turn up the speed. I didn't know when they were going to exactly do that, Rick.
Probably in the next month, this month sometime before we get everything over to the cloud.
So they'll be able to do that, and we'll be able to have that here as well as at the police department. In the meantime, Rick is preparing the area for the connection in the town hall basement, which will be in a secure rack. Right now, it's not quite secure. Town staff has continued working on the respective departments' budgets with the finance director, so we're nearing completion. So as we've been keeping you apprised. Don Stoneberg, Forest Leaf, and I met with Northern Colorado Water on Monday to discuss potential revisions to the Colorado Big Thompson project, water tracking, accounting procedures. We will keep you updated on any revisions that may be taking place. The town has received 27 wall bricks for the Veterans Memorial. These bricks will be installed on the memorial wall, which is located outside the police department late in the spring. And the reason for this is that adhesive that is needed to attach these bricks must be applied when the temperature remains warm. So, or they'll pop off, and we don't want to do that. So anyway, they turned out really, really nice. And we'll be hopefully getting more orders for those. We might need to find more wall space. But anyway, I think it'll be a nice tribute to have. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Questions from the board? Okay, well, thank you very much. And as usual, good hard work by our staff, especially in getting those Christmas decorations up. So, all righty. We have nothing on the consent agenda. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing to consider and make a recommendation for annexation known as Epic Estates and Taylor LLC. The property is owned by Epic Estates at Taylor LLC. The applicant is Venkatish Yarasemati. The time is 6:38, and I'm opening the public hearing. Presenting will be Kevin Ogle. And this item, I understand, is being requested to postpone to a future date.
Yes, Mayor. In Colorado, annexation does have to require or have to follow statutes, which is a very specific set of requirements that you have to meet, timing, noticing, things like that. In the transition of my predecessor to me starting, inadvertently, there were 2 items that were missed from meeting state statute requirements for an annexation. I caught those at the last minute, and due to that, by missing those, we are requesting that this item be postponed and renoticed for hearing before you all on December 22nd.
Are there any questions from the board in general? No? I'll entertain a motion from the trustees.
I move to continue and postpone the hearing to December 22, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. with the staff to publish notice.
A second.
Do we have any public comment? We don't have anybody here.
And then you'll just need to make sure you close the hearing.
All right, at 6:40, I'll close the public hearing. Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Beckman,
Yes.
Trustee Nix,
Yes.
Trustee Roseberry,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is consideration of adoption of resolution number 2025-23 to establish noticing requirements for a continuance of annexation proceedings for the Epic Estates at Taylor annexation. Presenting is Kevin Coble.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is now the resolution to establish that continuance of the annexation proceedings. So the annexation is still, the petition that was submitted is still a valid petition and application ready for hearing. So this will renotice for 4 consecutive weeks to then have a public hearing at the Planning Commission on December 17th, and then a public hearing before you all on December 22nd to then ultimately hear that annexation.
Questions from the board? Trustee Wakeman.
No questions.
Trustee Roseberry.
No questions.
Trustee Nix.
Questions?
Trustee Beckman?
No questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
No questions.
I don't have any questions either, pretty straightforward. Thank you very much for your presentation. If there's no further discussion, I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to adopt resolution number 2025-23, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Milliken to establish noticing requirements for the continuance of the annexation proceedings for the Epic Estates at Taylor Annexation.
Second.
Thank you. Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Nix?
Yes.
Trustee Roseberry?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the waiver for the developer fee deposit for CDOT, presenting Kevin Coble, the Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor. So CDOT has submitted a retroactive floodplain development permit for some resurfacing that they did on Colorado Highway 257, just north of Highway 60. If you remember back in about August, September, they were doing some repaving of a bridge just about that half mile north of Highway 60. At the time, CDOT was doing the work that they actually inadvertently missed that this was part of the floodplain. And then thus actually needing a floodplain development permit just because they thought it was considered routine maintenance. So after consulting with town engineering, we actually determined that there was a floodplain development permit required for this. CDOT is asking for that developer deposit to be waived just because for them it will take a couple of months, and then as a good working partner with the town, we feel it's a low enough amount to warrant that. Talking with our floodplain engineer, just on a budget implication, they think it would roughly take about 12 hours for this review of the floodplain development permit, which would roughly equate to $1,800, just so you are all aware of what that financial cost would roughly be. So with that, we do recommend approval of the fee waiver, just to be good partners with CDOT and the work that they've been doing for in and around the town.
Signal light out there at 60. Just thought I'd mention it. Please keep that in mind.
I will.
Questions from the board, starting with Trustee Beckman.
No questions.
Trustee Nix? No questions. Trustee Roseberry?
No questions.
Trustee Wakeman?
No questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
I just have one. Is this an indication that they'll waive fees for the town when we do work in their right of way?
It's a good thing to have in the back pocket.
That's not a yes. That's all I have, Mayor.
I would prefer to have that signal light out there on 60 and Centennial, but that's just me. I have no further questions, and I have no problem with it. So this time I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to approve the Colorado Department of Transportation's request for a waiver of the developer fee deposit associated with the floodplain development permit.
Second.
Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Nix?
Yes.
Trustee Roseberry?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next item on our agenda is the public hearing to consider and make a recommendation for a master development plan for Homestead Grove subdivision. Property is owned by JDLB Farm LLC. The applicant is Larry Buckendorf. Time is 6:45. I'm opening the public hearing, and presenting is Kevin Coble, Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor. So as you'd mentioned, this is a master development plan for the Homestead Grove subdivision. I do just kind of want to clarify just some terminology. Master development plan in the land use code, it kind of is more a preliminary development plan. The name kind of might seem a little bit odd, but it's a kind of a preliminary sketch for a PUD, planned unit development. So I just kind of wanted to make that clear that this is early on in the stages from that standpoint. The applicant has submitted this master development plan for a project called Homestead Grove. This encompasses roughly 232 acres, which would include a mix of roughly 899 single-family residential lots. This new proposed PUD is actually going to intend to replace the existing Flack Farm PUD that was done on the property in the late 2000s. The applicant is proposing to reduce the lot size from there's really not a from to a to in this instance. They're proposing 53 and 6,500 or 6,300 square feet lots. Just for reference, the standard R1 zoning district lot is roughly 7,500 square feet in size. So by reducing the lot size, kind of roughly 2,200 square feet in size is one of the things that they are proposing. The overall density that they are proposing for this is roughly 3.9 dwelling units per acre. Kind of for reference to the R1, the maximum dwelling or maximum acreage density in that is 5 units per acre. So they're still under what would be allowable in a straight R1 zoning from a density standpoint. They are also proposing to dedicate roughly 23% of the total development area as open space, which exceeds the 15% minimum requirement for PUDs. Part of that 23% will be a roughly 9-acre central park, 2-acre park, 4 pocket parks, and then a connection of integrated network of walking trails and sidewalks. The applicant is also proposing a non-potable system to provide irrigation to green spaces and homes to kind of do that dual system. The setbacks that they are proposing and the dimensional standards they are proposing for this development would be an 18-foot front setback, garages being 20 feet, a rear setback of 15 feet, side setback of 5 feet, street side of 15 feet, minimum lot width of 53 feet, and then a maximum lot coverage of 70 feet. And as I mentioned, this is a master development plan, so kind of the early stages. They do have, depending on the vote tonight, they do have by code 6 months to submit a final development plan. That final development plan is essentially a final plat of sorts that is accompanied with engineer drawings, transportation plan, a drainage report, geotech report, pretty much all of the kind of getting into the final details of what the development will look like. With this being a master development plan, this is just more of that concept. Does this look palatable and kind of meet what Milliken's looking for out of that requirement? This was heard at the November 5th Planning Commission, who recommended approval of the master development plan by 5-0 vote. Staff has reviewed this against land use code criteria. Generally, sections 16.6.210 and 16.6.520 of the code and 16.2.220 of the code, which generally follows submittal requirements and master development plan requirements, and have found to be substantially compliant with those sections of the code. With that, we do have the applicant here who can give a brief presentation as well, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you all might have as well.
Let's hear from the applicant first, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Trustees. Thank you for having us this evening. About 21 months ago, we were in front of you with a request for a disconnection, fancy word for de-annexing from the town. At that time, we had interest in taking this subdivision and going to Evans. That was ultimately not approved. And over the last 21 months, there's really been a great collaboration between our staff, the town staff, and consultants on both sides to bring this forward to you. This project is a long ways from town, about 4 miles as a crow flies. So these requests for density increases in these smaller lots, that's to accomplish 2 points. One being having attainable homes. It's no mystery that there are missing middle. There is a need for homes in northern Colorado. This helps that, as well as just helps spread out the cost to get the utilities out to the subdivision. So a general location of the map and of the subdivision, generally located at 49th Street and 65th Avenue. This has been zoned as a PUD, but more specifically as a single-family residential neighborhood, and that's what we're asking for, just those changes within the PUD. We have no interest in doing any sort of multifamily, townhomes, duplexes. We are simply looking for single-family homes. I'm going to kind of skip through some of these points because Kevin's done a good job of going through those points, so I don't want to bore everybody with similar information. Again, another location showing the PUD. This is one version of the map that is mainly showing transportation corridors. There's just a few small areas that are collectors just because of the amount of traffic that funnels through the neighborhood to those locations and then to the extending outward traffic network. This graphic shows a much better, much more readable version of the subdivision, showing that we have a good mix of those 5,300 square foot lots, the 6,300 square foot lots, as well as kind of the open space, the green space, as well as the central park, which ultimately that will have the pond for the private non-potable system that will be managed by the Metro District that is already in place for the neighborhood. We have a graphic showing the typical layout for a single-family lot, whether it's a 5,300 square foot or a 6,300 square foot for both a standard inline as well as a corner lot. Pepper, previous planning director, had asked us to put this together and include this because one of her main concerns with the lot sizes is the parking. So the majority of our homes, at a minimum, have a two-car garage. You're allowed to park 2 cars in the driveway, and with a 53-foot wide lot at our minimum size, you're able to park 1, 2 possibly, depending on the size of the cars. So there is a potential that you could have 6 vehicles in this area per home. Hopefully not.
Just trying to do the math on that. It's a 50-foot wide lot.
Correct.
The driveway is how wide?
20 feet.
20 feet. That gives you 33 feet to park 2 cars?
Depending on the size of the cars, if they're very small cars, yes.
They must be Volkswagens.
They very well could be.
Old Volkswagens.
Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Goals and objectives. These are the kind of flowerized language of the information that Mr. Coble has shown that we have met as far as the municipal code requirements for a PUD review. These are some examples of some homes that we would propose to build in this subdivision, very similar to any northern Colorado municipality where we've built homes. Very nice, attainable homes that are really great for, you know, the first-time homeowners, the move-up homeowners. I myself, I've lived in 3 different Journey homes. If it weren't for the attainability of a Journey home, I would not be a homeowner at this point in time. Specific benchmarks, I'm going to go ahead and kind of gloss over this, but there is one point that I want to touch on is the front setback versus the garage setback. The reason we want to make that specific point is some of our homes have a home element that sticks out in front of the garage, whether it's a front room or an office. And our reasoning for wanting to have that be able to be a few feet in front of the garage is so when you're standing looking down the street, you don't see a line that's straight down the street. There's some variability that increases and decreases the size of the front yards. It makes it a little more, in my opinion, in our opinion, a nicer feel looking down the street, not having just a straight line of houses. Here's some examples of the amenities and the features that we plan on fully fleshing out once we get into the next stage of the final development plan and that final plat. But very nice open spaces, great landscaping, and we've used similar examples in other municipalities, and it's been really well accepted by new residents as well as the existing residents of those municipalities. And these are just a few of local communities where we've built the similar product in throughout northern Colorado. Great neighborhoods, everybody loves them, great neighbors, and I'd be more than happy to give you cross streets if you'd be interested in going out and taking a look at these properties. And I believe that is the end of my presentation. I would like to reserve time at the end of public hearing to answer any questions for yourselves, for staff, as well as anything from public.
Okay, questions from the board, starting with Trustee Wakeman.
I don't know if I have specific questions aside from concern about that density. And obviously concern for the area and that it's certainly a big change for that area and specifically with that amount of density. I'm not sure that it's a change from what the original plat was for that property as well. And so that's generally where my concerns lie is the density that you guys are looking for, going below that minimum lot size. Obviously, I'm also a believer in property rights and people being able to use their property as they wish. And so I appreciate all those things, but I do have some concern about traffic and how it impacts that area.
Rosemary? No question. Trustee Nix?
No, I just agree with Trustee Wakeman about the density. I don't think that density complements the ag around it. Those residents.
No questions. I would echo concern. The lot sizes, I don't know if that's a real selling point. But no questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
I do have a couple of, well, I have one for the staff and one for you. My one for you is on the 20-foot garage setback. Well, that won't accommodate all the pickups that are in service today, will it?
I can't directly answer that. There are different sizes of pickups. Some may, some may not. But
some it will not. Some of them are as much, at least as 23 feet, I think. Yeah, many of them wouldn't, and that's a concern in the fact that it's if they park in the driveway, they're going to block the sidewalk, and that's part of community. That's a concern to me. And the other one I don't know the answer to, and that's more for staff. You talked about the 70% coverage in your memo. Is that a variation or is that standard? What is the expectation for lot coverage?
For right now, for reference, R1 standards allow for a 40% lot coverage.
40%?
40% lot coverage.
So that's a 30% increase?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And that's just for the imperviousness on the lot. They will have to account for that in their part of their drainage and grading plan because they cannot discharge more than the historic rate from the property. So if that means they have to go with a larger detention pond for storm drainage, things like that, they would have to do that. But for the lot itself, yeah, that is an increase.
I don't know where I land on this. I just wanted to define what it was. Smaller lots coverages means less lawn, which means less demand for water. So I'm
larger lot coverage actually means the allowance for less lawn and less water usage.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one would effectively allow for more hard surface to be done, less lawn, less water usage, things like that. Yep.
I look at both sides of that is what I
Yeah,
was saying.
I will, to that point, I will say with state legislature that's been going on with turf grass ordinances and things like that, lawns will probably ultimately be going away by state law here in the next couple of years. So having the smaller lots, larger lot coverage, that'll actually kind of probably become more of the normal that the state's going to mandate from that standpoint. With what's going to actually be coming before you all here in the next month and a half or so, will be a turf grass ordinance that we do have to apply based off of state law, and that will kind of apply to what I call tree lawns, the area that's between the sidewalk and the curb and gutter of streets, things like that. And then there is a provision in there that does talk about lawns itself that will kind of come out. So the usage of the water with lawns is a big concern for state legislatures right now. And this was kind of aligning with what a lot of that's looking like it's moving towards.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
That's the questions I had in there.
Thank you. I just have concerns with the density of people here. We've already got people stacked one on top of the other. And I don't think this is going to make friendly neighbors, especially we have in our current lot size, people complaining about people parking in front of their homes and that going on. We reduced the lot size, it's just going to get that much worse. There's no extra parking. If somebody has guests, I have some very big concerns with that. I'll go ahead and put it out for public comment. I believe we have some people that might want to comment. Okay. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
I'm Richard Wiest at 4525 65th Avenue, Milliken. Traffic is one of the things. I did just a general count the other night. From 5 to 6, there's approximately 500 cars go by on 65th Avenue. They're putting their entrance on 49th Street, which is a dirt road, narrow dirt road. They said they were going to upgrade, but they didn't detail that. So how are these, say, 2,000 cars every day going to get onto 65th or Two Rivers with that much traffic? They didn't say anything about it putting stoplights in or circles on 65th or 49th, or Two Rivers, excuse me. It's just, that doesn't make sense. And then I have just a general question. Is a code a law or is it just an idea? Because they're violating two codes.
Which codes are you referring to?
To the lot size and the amount of coverage per lot. But it's not a foolish question. Is a code a law or is it just a suggestion?
So I will let Kevin Coble address those 2 points if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, please.
To that, so this is a PUD. So PUD is its own zoning, which allows for the modification for standards. Essentially, a PUD allows for the creation of its own standards for dimensional standards within that district. I only use the R1 as a reference just to kind of show what a comparison is. It's not to say that it is differing from that specifically. It's just more of a reference for when you get into single-family residential, using that as that reference point. But yeah, PUD is a state law allowed zoning district that allows for the different creation of standards within that district. So it's basically creating what the code laws for this property would be, is what a PUD does.
Thank you. Did that answer your question, sir?
I think so.
Okay.
So in a sense, by being a PUD, they can make their own rules and regulations. Correct? They said yes.
Yeah.
Another problem is the density again. That's probably what, 900 homes is going to be 3,600 people or more. And And the neighborhood is pretty sparse out there. So I'm going to have the kids on my property. My other neighbors will have kids on their property. I'm in Milliken, so I'm going to be calling the police department in Milliken. But who do my neighbors call? I mean, this is a big thing coming to a small area or a very open area. It's not like we've got a few homes here and there or subdivisions. It's all of a sudden, bing, and it's very condensed. Let's see my other points. To me, that flag farm is sort of your east entrance to Milliken. And you're going to, if this goes through, put a bunch of cheap, condensed homes there. And people drive by, as I told you, the traffic already. What are they going to say? They aren't going to want to live in Milliken. You have a nice, from the north, you have the Mill Iron 5 and the golf course. But this entrance from the east is going to be, I won't use any words, but look pretty cheap. What else? At the planning commission meeting, they brought up how many millions of dollars this would bring into the community, Milliken. But they were going to bring into the community. They really aren't. The persons who buy the homes and the lots are going to pay for the water, the sewer, the streets. They aren't going to pay for it. So that was kind of a misconception there, like they were the Mr. Good guys. Another thing, I like Milliken, that's why I annexed to it. But these people aren't going to come to Milliken and spend their dollars, increase your sales tax, but they're going to require services. The police department, the fire department. I mean, you can't buy grocery in Milliken, and I think that's fine. It's a nice, charming town. But they're going to go to Greeley or wherever to spend their sales tax money. So as a city, you're going to be required to keep up their streets after they leave, and police and fire and so forth. So it's going to me, cost you money. And back to the kids, they don't mention a fence around the property. And even if they do put a fence up, where the entrance is, kids can just walk out the entrance. So myself and the neighbors are going to have kids. And then back to the density, I agree with the mayor. What happens when somebody has a birthday party for their 5-year-old and they have the relatives over? Where do they park? And do they park in front of 3 people that they don't get along with? I mean, it's that density to me is just creating problems inside the community, inside that community. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. Any questions?
No, thank you. Would you care to rebuttal?
Mayor, they're going to wait until the end of public comment.
Okay. Any other comments? Right.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ann Tella Hayes, and I own a farm with my sisters just west of this proposed development. It's 8200 West 49th Street. So our farm actually butts up to Two Rivers Parkway and 49th Street. So we're very close, and all of us generationally have been neighbors for a very long time. It's the Ashton community. The old Ashton School up there at 37th Street, my mom went to school there, and my sister actually went to school there for a while. I just want to protect it. And this just seems so inappropriate as a 900 home, 899. I'm going to round up to 900 home PUD. And I'm just very disappointed that they would want to propose this for this area because it is a rural area. And being that it is 4 miles from the town center, I think having that many people just kind of in the middle of nowhere still. It is kind of still in the middle of nowhere. It's just odd. And I know the original PUD that was proposed by Dr. Flack was maybe about 250 homes-ish. And I understand that he actually talked to the neighbors and presented it to them as he had this idea, and he wanted to be sure that they were okay with it. And as I understand, I believe that they were, because it's his property. He had every right to do it. But I know, unfortunately, he lost his farm. And then I guess that was the time that Journey Homes picked it up. I don't know if there's a in between. But I guess I feel like going over 3 times the amount of homes for this area is just nuts. 250? Yeah, that's pleasant. And also this first PUD had curved roads. It was enticing to the eye. It's pleasant, calming. You know, you could even double that and still could do curvature and make it pretty. Something that the Ashton community could be proud of. And then when you get to this density of like 900 and very blocky and, well, there's no pizzazz, there's no creativity. It's ew. And I guess I don't want to consider it part of the Ashton community as being anything that would beautify it. So density is the big issue. That, again, I'm going to reiterate. I also know that Mike and Michelle Carlson, they're the owners of the farm that butts up to this PUD proposal. They couldn't be here tonight, but I know that Mike Carlson submitted a letter. It's a very fine letter. And so I don't know at what point you all had to read it, or if you have read it, or if you will read it. So I'm just saying I'm in agreement with everything that he wrote, because it's probably three pages front and back. And it basically states, I bet, what most of us believe in for this particular PUD and our concerns about it. And also, I wanted to bring up schools. I don't really understand. They say maybe 500 children. I don't know. I can imagine there'd be more than that for that big of a housing development. Where they're going to go to school, how you accommodate that, I don't know. Big question mark. I also want to bring up lighting, should this happen. Right now, we kind of have not much light out there. So, you know, I don't really want the light pollution that comes with the PUD. So I guess that I am hoping that when something does happen, and hopefully it'll be less dense, that the lighting will be very appropriate for kind of a rural area. None of the white light, but something subtle, so that it won't be such an abrupt change for all of us. So I wanted to say that, and then, let's see. Oh, fencing. Fences make great neighbors no matter where you are, but I kind of feel like a vinyl fencing is inappropriate for that kind of a, I guess, planned development in a rural area. And I don't know, I think something wooden, I think even a privacy fence around the whole thing might be nice, even like they do around some of the oil and gas drilling sites that they have put up some very nice, they're great looking fences. Specifically, there's one just off Highway 34 and 83rd Avenue, Tourist Parkway. And that whole site is lined with a fence, and it looks like it's appropriate for country living versus a vinyl fence. So I just want to put in my 2 cents about that. So I guess I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other final comments? Yes, sir. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Albion Carlson, 7178 49th Street, Greeley. First of all, I want to thank the board for providing me this opportunity to speak tonight. Last week, we had the planning commission meeting, and I spoke my concerns about this development. Essentially, my land is immediately adjacent, the 80 acres immediately adjacent to this development on the west side. So we share a boundary for a half a mile. And the density of this proposed development is very concerning to me. As Mr. Weiss and Ann have just stated, it's an awful lot of people to plop down there right next to us. It's about, a third to half the size of the current population of Milliken all at once. We in the community are, concerned. My concerns was that my boundary along that western edge of the development does not have a road between it and me. And on the other three sides, there is a road. So with all of these people moving in, and there's going to be a lot of kids, and there's going to be potentially a lot of people who don't know to respect private property. I raised my concerns last week about that. I also have concerns about the traffic and that access on 49th Street. We're concerned that there's going to be an awful lot of traffic, particularly in the morning and the evening, if this is a bedroom community, and that there's going to be an awful lot of people driving up that road. We have access, that's our access to 49th Street there, and it's going to be dangerous. But more importantly, access for the people leaving 49th Street to go to Denver, or Fort Collins, what have you, or if they're going east, getting onto 65th Avenue, the access at 65th Avenue and at Two Rivers Parkway, currently, we've got stop signs. We had an issue on 77th Street, Two Rivers Parkway, and the intersection with Highway 402, where for a number of years, there was just a stop sign. And a lot of people died there for many years before that was addressed. And they finally got a stoplight in there, and should have happened a lot earlier. So in the event that this goes through and that exit is there on 49th Street, I would really hope that there would be due consideration given to putting in a roundabout either at 65th Avenue and 49th Street or Two Rivers Parkway, or both. It's just something that has to happen, or we're going to have a number of dead people. Just a fact. I do want to say that after the meeting last week, I contacted Mr. Coble, and we had a good meeting. And it was a very productive meeting. And I got in to see him right away, the next day, next working day. And he explained to me this process, and we discussed it. And I think he's a good man for the job. Seems like a hands-on man. This is his project. And what's really important is that he's willing and accessible. He's willing to talk to us in the community. And he explained to me, as he said to the board earlier, this is more a preliminary plan. It's not a final plan by any means. And this is not our only opportunity to provide input. And, I see Mr. Coble as a good contact for, getting our point across. And I believe that he's looking out for Milliken, and he's looking out for the community as a whole in working with Journey Homes. Also, I contacted Mr. Morgan Kidder on Monday. And we had a good conversation. And then we met yesterday morning out there at the property. Because one of the concerns I raised was I thought that since I didn't have a road between me and this community, there'd be an awful lot of people, and it'd be trouble and a lot of problem for me. I have livestock, I got grandkids, I got sheds with tools and things, and, you know, I wanted a fence. And I met with Mr. Kidder, and we had a good meeting. He listened to me. He heard me at the meeting, and he listened to me yesterday. Understood my concerns. Didn't tell me that, you know, I could go jump in a lake or deal with it on my own. And we came to an agreement. Journey Homes is going to construct 6-foot privacy fence made of cedar, the entire length of my property, at their expense, which I appreciate, because I couldn't afford that. Which tells me that we got a not so bad person to deal with in working things out. And ultimately, we in the community are going to have to work with Journey Homes and Mr. Koval. We're all going to work together, and we're going to get to a good thing. I think we really need to look at the density, for sure. Among all the other concerns that my neighbors and I have raised. That's what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, I'll come back
Yes.
to you if you.
Online?
We'll do Zoom at the end of the public comment of people who are in audience.
Okay.
Yep,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Sir, you're next. Yeah. Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Cole. I live at 116 South Dorothy Avenue. I wasn't even planning on speaking, but I just was listening to what was going on. And so I live literally a block. So this new development that's going on over at 65th Avenue and 49th Street doesn't even concern me. But in just listening to this, I have a lot of concerns just as a driver and a resident of Milliken. So there's only three ways in and out of Milliken. You go to the north on 257, you go west on 60, you go east on 60, which turns into Twin Rivers. And then you can either continue or you can make that right as you're going over out into Evans or Greeley. And I can imagine the traffic. We ride those roads a lot, and those roads are not good. They are not good roads. Whether you go straight or you go to the right, they're just not good roads. So considering the density that this development is going to bring to the town of Milliken, and honestly, I didn't even know Milliken had land out that way. So I didn't even know Milliken even existed over there. But imagine all of us having to drive every single day to get out of the town, and there's 3,000 people extra just hanging out over there to the northeast, right? That's going to be wild with cars and streets and density. And like the gentleman before me was talking about, some people died. I'm very concerned about car accidents. I see things online, local area. I think the best course of action is you have to figure out how the roads are going to be, how the infrastructure is going to be before anything gets approved with regards to bringing a mass amount or a potential mass amount of people coming to Milliken. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Sorry for taking up time.
Yeah. We'll finish with the last person in the room, and then we'll go. Oh, we have a gentleman over here.
Fred Neal, 1614 38th Street, Evans. 45 years ago, I attended my first city council meeting, and then about 25, 30 years ago, I attended my first Milliken trustee meeting. In those years, I have listened to a lot of presentations from developers, and what I've learned from that is they'll promise to build you development on the moon. And most of the developments that they promised, they sit on it for 3 or 4 years, sell the project to somebody else, or they come back to the council or the trustees with new faces sitting there and say, well, we need these concessions. We need to downsize this, whatever. So I'm asking you to take a look at this project. Obviously, I am very concerned about, as the people are, about the constraints that it's going to put on the infrastructure in that area. The traffic is already bad on 65th. As I went through that intersection tonight on 65th and 37th Street, traffic was backed up both directions on 65th. And that was at 6:45. The original plans by Dr. Frack, I believe someone mentioned that the Planning Commission were for about 100 to 120 homes. And it's escalated, and it sounds like from the information I heard tonight that this developer has found a loophole in a PUD to downsize the lots and increase the density. I really feel that this is not a good project for Milliken. Are the current residents going to pay for a new fire station, a new police station, emergency medical services over in that area? Is Milliken, the current residents, also going to have to build a maintenance shop over there so that the roads can be maintained in this development? We get a lot of snow, or we used to. It needs to be cleared. And also, the streets need to be swept of the salt and sand that accumulates from that. There was some discussion as to the millions of dollars that this would bring in developmental fees. But at the Planning Commission, but how much is Milliken going to spend on maintaining this development? Or are we planning on having the police and a fire respond from 20 miles away, roughly? I don't think that sets very well with would set very well with the people that bought houses there. They want immediate response when they call. And of course, that is not at all possible in a lot of cases. There are just too many demands on our fire and police right now to have an instant response. I thank you for your time, and I'll let you go.
Thank you. All right, we do have apparently at least one person on Zoom. How many people do we have on Zoom?
Got one.
Okay. Do they wish
I'm ready
to
if
come
you're
in?
ready. Hello, my name is Michael Carlson. I'm here with my wife, Michelle Carlson. Is it all right to speak?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
First and foremost, it took us over an hour to enter your Zoom meeting this evening. And I've been in contact with multiple attendees who were not able to attend because they weren't able to use two computers, iPad, my daughter's iPad finally was able to get in. I think there's multiple people who are not able to attend this meeting who were neighbors in the neighborhood. Would like to make a request to table the decision on the PUD just for that reason only. But I will explain to you my letter also. Did everybody get the letter that I put together for you guys?
Yes.
Were you able to? Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Great. We really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. We reside at 7180 49th Street, just west of the proposal. We are writing to express our strong opposition to the approval of this project in its current form. We do not oppose responsible growth, deeply concerned that this proposed high-density design, approximately 900 homes, pose serious risks to Milliken's infrastructure, finances, environmental integrity, and community safety. Mayor, you had some good points about the density. Our concern is that this PUD does not meet with the Town of Milliken's Municipal Code 16220A1, which requires the developments to be in harmony with the environment and surrounding neighborhood. That's all you have to look in your code, and it doesn't meet it. There's only small farmlands and farms in the area. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to see, before this project move forward, have the town review the documentation and justify the density, specifically requesting any planning or economic studies to demonstrate how the density aligns with Milliken's infrastructure capacity, water, sewer analysis, combinations, without limiting future projects near the town. Really important not to go and stretch your infrastructure so thin, so far out of town. Alvin Carlson has already said that he will not develop his property. Eric Carlson will not develop their property. 49th Street will not be developed. They've already discussed that on 49th Street. So main thing we had was why even put the traffic onto 49th Street, because there's not going to be any future development on 49th Street. Traffic should go off to 65th. That's the main angle. Better yet, drop down the density. So we would like to see documents showing the proposed adheres down the town's long-term comprehensive plan for balanced and sustainable growth. The town municipal code section 16220 also says the density proposed development shall be based in the capacity of the land to support a PUD. 900 homes cannot be, it's crazy to put that many homes there. Like you said, where's the parking? Where are the kids going to play? Now, what kind of a town are you trying to create? What kind of a neighborhood are you trying to create? Without this information, it is difficult to understand how such high density development is justified or financially sustainable. The budget and tax implications from the Milliken is facing significant budget challenges this year. The residents have already seen a 0.5% increase to fund improvements on the intersection of 60 and County Road 257. Question: if Homestead Grove PUD is approved, will taxpayers face additional tax increases to fund road and infrastructure improvements on 49th Street, 65th Avenue, and any other connecting routes? That's a question for the developer. We'd like to make sure that the town can clarify whether these costs will be borne by the developer or passed down to residents. Public funds or future tax increases are required. This project should not move forward until clear, transparent plan is present. I would like to that question to be answered. I've got a few questions on that. We can answer later. The traffic and roadway impacts, everybody's been saying about this. This is a horrible idea with this 900 homes. The density is going to create a lot of problems. The existing roadway network lacks the capacity and design standards necessary to support such high density development. The key concerns we have is 49th Street, east of the PUD. Currently, there's 70 vehicles a day on 49th Street. Paving increased the traffic routes and and people will find alternative routes because of the congestion on 65th Avenue also, which means that not only will we get the PUD traffic, We will also get 49th and 65th Avenue traffic that's going to be coming up 49th. Just because you've created more and more people in the area. The question we have for the developer, will he agree to remove the main entrance on 49th Street, restricting access to emergency vehicles only, utilizing 65th Avenue for the main entrance to the PUD? Another intersection we have is 49th Street, 65th Avenue. The offset intersection will provide significant engineering improvements. And they've mentioned that. Circulation down there might be necessary if you have all these people coming and going. Will the developer agree to pay for the required intersection improvements? Or will this go be borne on taxpayers? And not just for the town of Milliken, but also the city of Evans and Weld County also, because everybody has a piece of this. So we want to have clarification exactly who's paying for this. 49th Street west of the PUD experiences severe drainage issues. Washed out 3 times in 2025. Also, the Carlson Farm uses heavy agricultural equipment incompatible with paved surfaces, or just that don't have wheels that cannot go across paved surfaces. Will the developer agree to pay for proper sized culverts, maintaining rural farm access, to restrict PUD access from 49th Street? It's really important to still have the ability for the Carlson Farm to farm on both sides of the street. 49th Street to Two Rivers Parkway. Paving 49th Street would increase traffic into this intersection, which already presents safety challenges due to high vehicle speeds and limited sightlines. Question, will the developer pay for this intersection safety improvements, including expansion of Two Rivers to accommodate turn lanes and potential including a traffic circulation or a traffic circle? These really important things to find out who's paying for this. Is it going to be taxpayers? What's happening? 65th Avenue corridor. The proposed addition is approximately 900 homes with very substantial traffic impacts surrounding roads and intersections. The existing rural road network lacks the capacity design standards necessary to support such a high-density development. For reference, the city of Evans required the Prairie Heights PUD, which is next to the Prairie Heights Middle School, to expand 37th Street to 4 lanes as a conditional approval, demonstrating the comparable infrastructure improvements are necessary for the development of this scale. Even the city of Evans knew that if that development happened over in Prairie Heights, that 37th was going to be a huge problem. They made it conditional that they had to expand that. I see that also on 65th Avenue, that 65th Avenue will have to be addressed from 37th Street all the way down to Two Rivers, down to the Buffalo Ranch, which is 387 and Two Rivers, which may have multiple circles and 4-lane roads that we have. Once again, we have multiple jurisdictions here. Have you guys put this together and talk to the jurisdictions? I have sent information over to those people. I just didn't know if they were actually talking to you. Question, will the developer agree to pay for the lane extension, runabouts, and turn lanes at major intersections, 65th, 37th, 65th, and County Road 378? And for the traffic circles at 65th Avenue, are they going to be paying for it? Who's paying for it? Taxpayers? What's happening? Two Rivers Parkway and County Road 3765 and County Road 378, sorry. Both intersections experience frequent accidents that require safety upgrades, turn lanes, runabouts, or signalization. Will the developer agree to pay for these required improvements, potentially including traffic circles and signalization? Given the scale of the projected intensity of the proposed development, it is essential that the town of Milliken ensure infrastructure improvements are proportionate to the development's impact on public facilities, transportation networks, and utilities. Under CRS 2920-101, Esquire, and the town subdivision and development standards, the board has clear authority to require the developer to construct or contribute fair share improvement necessary to maintain adopt levels of service. This includes verification that the project
Proposed project does not impose undue fiscal or operational burdens on existing municipal systems or adjacent properties. Adjacent properties. Insurance compliance with these provisions will promote consistency with the town's comprehensive plan, projecting project long-term infrastructure capacity and uphold the public health, safety, and welfare. Question, will the Board of Trustees require the developer as a condition of the approval, finance or otherwise construct the necessary on-site and off-site infrastructure improvements, including the roadway intersections adjacent and impacted by the high-density PUD? Are you going to make this as part of the condition of the approval? You should. Farm and access rights. Paving and increasing traffic would restrict our agricultural operations 149th Street. Carlson Farm, limiting Carlson's right to farm. Will the developer agree to provide protective crossings for the farm equipment to avoid road damage, impede historical farm use? There's an irrigation ditch also on the west side of the proposed PUD that has historically fed water to the Carlson Farm, Alvin Carlson Farm. Question, will the developer agree to construct a concrete irrigation ditch to enclose the ditch so Alvin Carlson Farm has the access to irrigation water? We have more street design safety concerns. The beauty of long, straight streets promote higher driving speeds. If you look at it, it's one big giant square with a lot of runways. With the high density and the skinny streets, with all the traffic that's going to happen on this, it's like we are creating a hazardous environment, especially in the dense neighborhood expected to be more than 500 children to start with. As people have more kids, there's going to be 1,000 kids out there. Without calming design and potential for a serious or even fatal accident, and it is unacceptable. Will the Board of Trustees require the developer to redesign and resubmit the plan with these concerns addressed, including adjustments to the lot size to align with current minimum lot sizes and coverage amounts? The 40% coverage amount is a standard in Milliken. And he wants to put 70% coverage. I actually went to one of his developments at Southridge. I took my Toyota Tacoma and parked it in one of their lots in the driveways. And one of the lots actually had 7 feet clearance on one side and 9 feet clearance on the other sides of the building. So you're talking 5 feet and 5 feet in between. That's how big he wants to have it, in between the lots. But my truck barely fit. It was a Toyota Tacoma. And if you have a truck that's going to fit over the top of the sidewalks, where are these kids going to go? They're going to have to walk around these trucks, possibly going out into the streets. And with the high speeds and these straightaways, okay, what's going to be next? Okay, well, we're going to put speed bumps everywhere. So you're going to have speed bumps. If you redesign it, bring down the density, save some kids' lives.
Okay.
The Planning Commission concerns. I got one more thing. During the Planning Commission hearing on November 5th, the Commission referenced their September meeting discussing regarding larger lots, more places for children to play, and better quality of life rather than high-density living. That was the Planning Commission's meeting. They mentioned it. Would the Board of Trustees make a requirement that Homestead Grove PUD comply with the Planning Commission's concerns regarding the size of lots, coverage, and overall community design to align with the current municipal code? There's also environmental and historical impacts. The PUD states there's no environmental concerns. However, we raise the following questions.
Okay, sir, I need you to go about another minute, okay, and then wrap it up. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
That's fine. The event proposal basically says there's no environmental concerns, but there's a high priority habitat area, Colorado Code 12D, Bald Eagle Nesting, approximately 1.5 miles from the Homestead Grove phase one development. This development was part of the Guanella Comprehensive Area Plan and was reviewed by the Quandary Plan Development. Will the town of Milliken require the developer to provide formal impact study on this habitat area? However, I contacted the Colorado Department of Wildlife and they are investigating it. Also, the developer has already removed lots of trees in the neighborhood or in the farm, which may have actually impacted that already. In conclusion, I'm going to go ahead and go through. There's 4 options there that you need to talk about. Could the town of Milliken be subject to legal action for approving modifications to lot sizes for this developer while denying similar considerations to other prior or future developments? It's a very simple question. We'd like the board to respectfully deny or delay approval of the Homestead Grove PUD till the town provides supporting documentation justifying the high-density zoning, a clear fiscal analysis, comprehensive environmental traffic impact, and developer addresses planning commission concerns regarding lot sizes, coverages, street design, and safety. Thank you. Sorry for a little bit lot to be talking about, but there's a lot of concerns we have.
We actually would like to speak to the developer too. We're not present, but outside of this meeting, we wouldn't mind that also.
All right, thank you for your comment. All right, are there any, I'm sorry? 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Hi, Antella Pace, 8200 West 49th Street. I wanted to address how you all tell neighbors what's going on, like for notices, for meetings. And I know the Garcias, who have their farm immediately to the south of this planned development, didn't get any kind of notification for tonight's meeting. They are the next neighbor, and I think you have rules for 300 feet. And so if you're going to annex like farms and stuff, that doesn't make sense because our farms are really far apart in relationship to 300 feet. So I know I didn't get a notice, but I'm down the road a bit. So I guess I would like to ask if there's some way it can be changed that when things happen to a rural area as part of Milliken, that notices can be different, like guidelines can be different and reasonable. Even a posting, how you see sometimes development proposal on a sign off the roadway, then maybe neighbors could know about it. I only knew about any of this as of last Tuesday, the day before the last Wednesday meeting, only because Mike Carlson called me. Last I knew, it was always Dr. Flack's PUD from ages ago. So I was shocked. So I just think in all fairness that you need to amend the way that you tell neighbors.
We will check on the notices. It is to, I believe, property lines, so at 300 feet.
Well, I mean, stuff like that makes sense for in-town and spacing and stuff like that. But when you get into farmland and rural area, I think you should go a little wider. So yes, if you'd look into it anyway, that's my concern. And I was glad to hear about the cedar fence. I wish they'd wrap it all the way around it. I was going to suggest cedar, but I thought that would be going too far. But anyway, I like that, so thanks.
Thank you very much. All right, in wrapping it up, you wish to speak?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Board of Trustees. My name is Larry Buckendorf. I'm our general counsel and a partner for Journey Homes. There was a lot of information given here in the last hour. A lot of it was innuendo and what's the developer going to do. And I've got to point out a couple of very important points to the town board so that it's very clear where we're at. If you'll recall, we at one point came in with the idea that we were going to de-annex the property because it was preliminarily determined that the town of Milliken could not serve the property with water and sewer. We brought the de-annexation application in front of the town board, and it was denied. Subsequently, we were prepared to proceed with de-annexation in a litigation standpoint, but in the interest of goodwill, we approached Ms. Powell, the town attorney, and the staff, and came back and said, is there an ability for Milliken to serve this property so that we can preserve the annexation and not go through the process of litigation it's called a disconnection, but basically it's de-annexation. At that time, we had approached Evans. Evans was prepared to take the ground, has the ability to serve it both from a public water and a public sewer standpoint, and basically acquiesced to the type of development that we were proposing here. Now, that was a preliminary draft, and that was over a year and a half ago. As we move forward, we've been able to come to a very amenable agreement with the city staff that complies with the code, that meets the code from a substantial compliance standpoint. And I'll reiterate to the town board that although there are a number of issues that we need to address, and I can address some of the highlights, this is the preliminary process that the town establishes, and we're right now at a very early stage in the entitlement process. All of the things with regard to traffic, utilities, those kind of things come out in the next process when we start in the nuts and bolts of the engineering. My point is that if we don't go forward at this time, we may be taking 2 steps back. That's not a threat, but I'm suggesting to you very clearly that we have a property right, just like our neighbors, to do what complies with the code. This property was annexed, I'm going to say over 10 years ago. There was a PUD put on the plaque by Doc Flack. It only entailed half of the property. So all of the discussions about how the density comported and that it was a good idea, the initial design, which also was at a very preliminary stage, only considered, again, half of the property. Also keep in mind that the reason that we own this property is because that project went bankrupt. The concept didn't work. They couldn't bring it to market. It failed, and a bank got it back. We then purchased it from the bank after a bank owning it for over 2 years. We've owned the property and farmed the property now for about 8 years. So to reconcile back to a PUD that failed 10 years ago doesn't make a lot of practical sense. Let me point out a couple of very specific facts here that I think it's important for the board to know. Number one, we are proposing 53 and 63 foot frontage lots for 5,300 and 6,300 square feet. The R1 zoning is 7,000 square feet, but it has a minimum lot frontage of 60 feet. So a significant number of our lots are actually going to be longer and have more frontage than what the R1 zoning allows. So in other words, the same parking issues that you're concerned about would exist in a standard R1 zoned lot that the town has set up the codes. It's a 60-foot frontage. Again, a lot of these lots are going to be 63. A typical car is 14.7 feet long. They fit in the driveways. This is a tried and true subdivision. We've got them from Firestone, these types of subdivisions, from Firestone to Wellington, and there's not a parking issue. This is a very practical, common, industry standard layout of a subdivision that doesn't have the kind of parking issues that are talked about here. I can direct you to over 15 subdivisions in the northern Colorado region with these exact standards. Again, keep in mind that staff has recommended approval and said that we are in substantial compliance with 16.6, 210, and 520, and 16.2, 220. So again, it's incumbent upon the town board to understand what the rules and regulations are that the town laid out, and we've complied with those. There are some deviations that we can work through and work with our neighbors, and we're prepared to do that. But that process is long down the road. Right now, we have to get the concept established so that we can start these types of specifics to get to the next level of discussions for all of these issues that have been raised. Let me just address a couple of things that the town board asked specifically, and that is density. The R1 zoning allows up to 5 units per acre. We're at 3.9. So again, we could go back to the straight zoning, go to 60-foot lot frontages, 7,500 square feet lots, and meet the code requirements, specifically as it laid out. That would not be any deviation from those rules and regulations, and that would comply absolutely with what the town has laid out, which is not negotiable between us parties. So we're proposing a combination that works as a better type of layout that's more practical. Again, this is an affordability issue. I think that everybody's recognized that the affordability is something that's attacked northern Colorado, and it's on the top of a list everywhere. The one way you combat affordability is to provide supply. If you want the price of houses to come down, you've got to build more houses. It's a fact. The inputs aren't going down. The cost of water isn't going down. The cost of land isn't going down. And the reality is the type of PUD that existed beforehand is not something that the market would absorb. I'm not going to get into a lot of specifics with regard to each individual, but I want to make a couple highlights. Mr. Weiss mentioned that he's concerned about traffic studies, code versus PUD density. Mr. Weiss annexed into the town and he has 18 wells on his site. That's your entrance. That's Mr. Weiss' property. Yet he comes up here and says that he's concerned about the aesthetics of an entrance on the east side when you drive right now and you see these well batteries. Mr. Carlson was very reasonable. We've had a discussion with him, and I think that we can address Mr. Carlson's issues to the east. They're legitimate. He did mention about a road, but we don't have the ability to put a road through there. It's not on a section line. It's not something that we can arbitrarily do, you or us. He mentioned private property rights. I absolutely respect those private property rights, and we have those same rights as well. Mr. Cole, again, addressed traffic density infrastructure. All of those things will be addressed in the next steps. We have to do a traffic impact study. We have to do a water study. All the infrastructure has to be reviewed by the town engineer. And 100% of all of that cost will be borne by our development entity. There is no municipal money that's going into this. There's no municipal money for improvements. There's no municipal money for streets. There's no municipal money for roads. So all of those are just scare tactics to say who's going to front this money. It's a 100% on the development issue. Mr. Neal stood up here. He's an Evans resident. I don't know what else to say. You can address his concern, but he lives in Evans. He's not even one of your constituents. So I could go through the same thing that he's talking about, but Evans is immediately across the road. Mr. Carlson read the letter from front to back. We know all those issues. Every one of those issues, I understand, need to be addressed, but that's the process that we go through after today. We start all of those specifics. Again, traffic, utilities, drainage, sewage. That's how the process works. We have to have a place to start with, and that's what we're doing today. And we've come in here and complied exactly with what the code lays out with regard to the terms and conditions and how you come through with a PUD. Lastly, I do want to point out a couple things on density. Our average lot size will be just shy of 6,000 feet. The minimum you have in a standard R1 zone is 7,000 square feet. Our average lot frontage will be close to 60 feet. That's the minimum in R1. So there's not these huge deviations that are being projected. It's very close to the R1 zoning. We could go back to the R1 zoning. I'm telling you that we're taking the density to address affordability and the fact that we can now provide 11 acres of park in there that are going to be developer built with 23% open space when the R1 zone requires 15% open space. So we're offering and we're going through very significant trade-offs to make this a very viable, well-managed subdivision that we've done over and over and over with incredible amount of success throughout northern Colorado. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to sell this property. We're not going to wait 10 years like the FLAC PUD did and it goes bankrupt. The day that we get final approval, we're going to be moving dirt. It'll be done in probably 3 to 4 phases. It's not something that's going to hit the town all at once. All of the improvements will be thought out. They'll be paid for by the developer. 49th will be improved. 65th will be improved. The turn lanes will be there because that's what's dictated by traffic impact studies. That's dictated by the town code. You have to meet the minimum requirements and their specifications. So again, I don't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves. Right now, we're talking about a concept plan that generally complies exactly with the code. Again, I don't want to take 2 steps back and we go back to where we were 20 months ago, because we're not going to sit idly by and farm the ground. I understand the county concerns and the farmer concerns. It's legitimate. I was also born and raised here, born in Greeley. And unfortunately, development at times can impede upon that type of a county structure. The property's annexed to the town of Milliken. It's going to be developed at some point in time. The rules are set, and I think we've substantially complied with them, and the town staff has confirmed that. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Any final questions from the board for Mr. Buckendorf?
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
You're talking about average lot width. What's your minimum lot width?
53 feet.
Okay.
Yes, 53 feet up to 63 feet. Some of them will be a little, depending on the corners, could be more. So I'm giving you a generality that it's approaching that 60-foot minimum frontage in your R1 zoning.
Sure. I appreciate, obviously, that minimum lot size is more of our concern than an average. So.
Understood.
Other questions?
I just had a clarification, just for the record, on the current map that you guys have, that you were showing, it looks like there's an entrance on 49th, 2 or 3 on 65th, and 1 on 378.
That's accurate, yes.
Okay.
And that's based on a preliminary layout, Ms. Beckman, but all of that will be confirmed once we get into the depths of a traffic study.
Okay, just people were mentioning that there's only 1 entrance on 49th, and that doesn't seem to be the story anymore.
You're accurate in your statement.
Okay. And then I'm looking on Weld County property portal right now, and I see that there is another plot, obviously this is Evans, to be built as well, not by you guys maybe, but right across 65th to be developed into a neighborhood as well. Obviously, I don't know any timing on that, but point being, I'm not for it or against it, but I'm just saying this is happening all around the area.
That's accurate, and it will be, that is developed. That's going to be an approved subdivision in the town of Evans, and that's one of the initial discussions that we had with Ms. Powell and the staff. Our goal is to stay here in Evans, keep the dollars here in Evans, make sure that in Milliken, make sure that they don't go to Evans.
Yeah.
That these are Milliken residents. Milliken is going to benefit from the tax. We've approached the school. The school understands where we're at. They project that there's going to be at full build out around 500 students. They do not want to build a school out here. And the school district requires a minimum payment. I don't know the exact amount for the district, but it's in the neighborhood of $2,000 per single family unit that you pay cash in lieu for that specific reason. And that's what the district set up, and that's what they want. Again, all of these things are going to be worked out over time. And the things that have been raised is the town needs to make sure that the developer does A, B, C, and D. Well, they're going to do that. I'm going to sit down with Mr. Gould, and he's going to hand me a development agreement, and we're going to go through all of those terms and conditions to make sure that those things happen. And you're dealing with a developer that's been here for 25 years. We're not going anywhere. We're the largest home builder in northern Colorado. We've built near 12,000 houses in northern Colorado. And I think we've got a project that makes all the sense in the world for Milliken to take the next step. And again, we've have staff approval. We've gone through this for the last 12 months to go through what they want to see and what the expectations are.
Thank you. Any final questions?
Oh, thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Can we have a question online?
Unfortunately.
Can we ask him a question?
One quick question. Yes.
What is the cost of this home is he expecting?
What is the cost of what?
The smallest home there, what's the cost, the estimated cost of the smallest home?
Price.
That's for the developer.
Well, I think it's kind of unusual that somebody from the public can ask us directly. If it wants to come from the board, it'd be more than happy.
What is your price point?
Or would you mind That's what.
I don't know. What I can tell you is what exists today, and I can't see your name. Okay, well, your last name. I can tell you where we're at now. So at Union Colony West, at 83rd and 10th and Greeley, we're in the mid-400s. Out at Southridge, in Johnstown, we're at the lower 400s. Ravenna, which was in Windsor, on 17th, right off the roundabout where the silo is, we were in the mid-500s. And again, that's a function of off-sites, water, infrastructure. I'm telling you that we have a good position in this land. We have enough water for a non-potable system, which is going to make a dramatic change on water usage and the ability to deliver affordability. Now, I'm not going to tell you one thing and do another. It's going to be an expensive project to develop because of sewer and water connections. It's not going to be easy for us to get sewer down to the city. We've got an idea, we've got a plan, but it's going to take a heck of a lot of work. That goes the other way. But I think it's safe to say that you're probably looking in the neighborhood of low 400s to low 500s. And that's it. And we're the most affordable product in Northern Colorado. I'm not necessarily proud of that, but that's the reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this something new that you want to? 1 minute, but we're not going to keep going around.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Cole. I was listening to everything that was going on. And basically what I'm assessing here is that the people who are living in this community want a concrete plan without voting on anything. And what I'm hearing from this attorney here is, hey, please vote to finalize this without having a concrete X, Y, and Z plan, papers laid out, everything going on for this particular development. It's like basically when Nancy Pelosi said, hey, vote on this. You don't have to read it. We'll find out what happens after we vote on it. So that's not how things are supposed to be. You're not supposed to vote on something.
That is not the process, sir.
Yeah.
The process this is very preliminary. This is not final.
Yes. So I understand that. So what I'm saying is just take your time, get the information, find out who's paying for this, what's the long-term cost of what's going to happen in this particular development, who's going to be responsible for the road repairs, who's going to be responsible for everything with regards to this development. And so that's what I'm hearing.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right. So at this point, we're going to close public comment. Do we have any final questions for Kevin Cole? On the process.
Kevin, would you just mind clarifying that process real quick, just for the record,
Yep, not a problem. So yeah, as I mentioned, this is what's called a master development plan. In a sense, it's a preliminary development plan. Call it a concept plan, sketch plan. You know, you can kind of call it multiple different things. But yes, it is a master development plan. So this is early on in the stages. This is that sketch concept that then based off of this does then go into the final development plan stage. And that's where all the final engineering, final documents, pretty much all the finite details down to, road curves and tangents and, every, what will be a lot pin and everything like that. That's what comes out in the final development plan stage. That's where, that traffic study will indicate, what percentage of the traffic will go north, south, east, west. And then we'll talk about what improvements need to be made at certain entrances, XL lanes, decel lanes, turn lanes, things like that. That all comes out in that final development plan. That's where, all of those nuts and bolts do come into play. That's where staff does review it, engineering reviews it, roads, water will review it to make sure that all of the design meets design criteria for the town. So yeah, since this is the master development plan, like I said, the name is a little bit quirky from that standpoint, but yeah, it is truly just a concept level, sketch plan level proposal for the property in itself.
So my question for you would be more like, when you go to work with them on developing this, if this passes this phase, you can address our concerns about parking some of the density at that time and see if we can open up some other additional space?
Yeah, we can work at that. Just for reference, keeping at, let's just say, the R1 standards at 7,500 square foot lots over the 232 acres. The minimum park requirement for residential is 12% of the space. And then when you factor in roads, which depending on kind of equates to 25% of the property. I think in this case, they're proposing roughly 23% of the road or the property is for roads. When you factor all that out and do 7,500 square foot lots, the maximum number of lots that they could actually get in here realistically at 7,500 square feet would be around 850 lots. That is if they go to the bare minimum of what zoning requires from that standpoint. So that does produce larger lot sizes. That does produce the minimum at 60 feet. Everything that would be in a standard R1, that would be roughly the density we'd be looking at anyway. When you take out the 12% for parks and roughly 23% for roads. So yes, this does provide that varying difference in lot sizes, lot widths, but it is also providing for more park space than what would be required by a minimum of PUD standards and by what R1 standards would be, which is 12% from that standpoint. So at this point, it's a give and take from that standpoint of having lower lot sizes for more open space is essentially what's kind of coming out of this proposal.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yep.
Does the board have any more questions? Okay.
Approving this doesn't approve them to turn dirt in any way, shape, or form.
No, it does not. With it being the preliminary development plan, this is like like I said, that kind of sketch concept that they have to get final development plan approval first before they can go out and turn any dirt, which would be months away. I mean, by ordinance, they have 6 months to submit that final development plan. And unless they've had all of their engineering teed up already, which I'm doubting, that'll take them a couple of months to put together. So through reviews and things like that, it'll be a good couple of months before this is back before you all.
Well, I'd be surprised if it's that quick with all the engineering.
Yeah, they just have to submit by 6 months. That doesn't mean it has to come before you within 6 months, but based off of that timing and review timing with staff, I would put it more towards the end of summer next year that this would be kind of more before you all at the earliest.
Yeah. I just wanted to clarify. If we approve it, we're approving him to go spend a ton of money.
Correct.
To develop a lot of plans.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other final questions, staff or attorney?
Yes, Mayor Austin. If I could, I'd just like to provide a couple of comments related to law that may be pertinent to the board's consideration. This area was annexed into the town quite a number of years ago, and it was given the PUD zoning designation. Okay, at the time that it was annexed, it would have been determined by the board as follows. And I'll read the entire sentence, but there's a particular phrase that I think is pertinent. That a community of interest exists between the area proposed to be annexed and the annexing municipality. That said area is urban or will be urbanized in the near future, and that said area is integrated with or is capable of being integrated with the annexing municipality. So the board would have made the determination many years ago that that was true. And the language that came to my mind was that it's urban or will be urbanized in the near future. One other point, PUDs are intended to be flexible in their approach to a lot of the issues that were discussed. But Kevin and I did scour the code and looking for some objective standards that the board could take into account. Staff has recommended that those standards have been met, but I do want to read a particular portion of our own municipal code. This is from the section of the code that describes the PUD zoning district. Just let me bring this up. This is from section 16-2-220 G of the municipal code. it'll take me just a second to read this, and portions of this have been discussed tonight, but I think it's important to take the entire section into account for the record. PUD restrictions and general requirements. Properties utilizing the PUD district shall be subject to the following. All PUD applications shall include a gross land area of not less than 10 acres. The density and/or intensity of the proposed development shall be based on the capacity of the land to support the PUD, as well as the impact of the development on town services and facilities, and on neighboring property that reasonably could be impacted by the development. Capacity of the land shall be determined based on the size, topography, and geological and environmental limitations of the proposed development. The area of land for the PUD may be controlled by one or more landowners and must be developed under unified control as outlined in the master development plan. As I understand staff's assessment, this meets those criteria. But I did want to read the language regarding density because there's been so much discussion about that issue. That's all I wanted to add for the record at this point.
Thank you. All right. There are no final comments.
Mayor, I just wanted to mention something really quick because I know it was brought up here and I know it's in your packet, but the school district that this would impact is really Evans School District.
Yes.
So I just want to make note of that. And they are very aware.
All right. The time is 8:17. The public hearing is closed. There's no further discussion. I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to recommend approval of the master development plan of Homestead Grove with the following conditions. 1, within 6 months of the following the approval of the master development plan, the applicant shall file an application packet for final development plan. And 2, allow staff to work with the owner applicant to address minor non-substantive modifications.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Roseberry?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Nix?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right. Are there any board reports to come before the board tonight? Nothing to report? No meetings to attend?
I did, along with some of the staff and the Weld County elected officials meeting. It was good. A lot of information about demographics and what's coming Weld County's way in terms of growth. Definitely some good review. What's anticipated for our future.
Thank you for attending. Any other comments or reports? Hearing none, if there's no further business to come before the board, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're out. Thank you.